That's the first time I've ever been given the finger by a mountain. Same to you, buddy. The homeowners association's been getting mad because of all the cheap Korean cars I've been parking in my driveway, say it downgrades the neighborhood. Told me if I don't move upscale again, get on the A-list, get a nice car, they're going to kick me out of the neighborhood. So, here we go. Can't get any better than this. Lexus LC500. That's what we'll be driving this week. Now that we're at our garage and test facility, we can take a closer and more serious look at this car. Very nice looking, especially with this red metallic paint. No comments about the grille, please. Either like it or you don't. Looks okay to me. Pretty sleek looking from the side. Some people were mistaking it for a Ferrari. I guess that's a good sign. And here's what we will see from the rear, as well as other drivers as you whiz by them. Here we have the exhaust outlets, and looking down the hole I see an exhaust tube, so I guess they're real, not fake as in some other cars. This vehicle gets compliments wherever it's parked. Under the hood is a sophisticated 5-liter V8, putting out 471 horsepower, hooked to a 10-speed automatic transmission. If you like shifting manually, there are pedal shifters on the steering wheel, where they belong, not on the steering column like the Italians do, where they do not belong. Fuel economy is rated 16 mpg in the city and 25 mpg on the highway, with a 19 overall average. By the way, this engine is also available in the Lexus RCF, which is around $20,000 to $30,000 less. And the Mustang Bullitt has a V8 with similar horsepower for about half the price of a Lexus RC500. And I did a comparison test between the Lexus RCF and the Mustang Bullitt on YouTube about 4 months ago. We'll have a link for those videos at the end of this LC500 video. Just click and watch. And the obvious question, how much does all this fancy engineering cost? Here's the starting price, a list of options, and the total. These are definitely nice looking wheels, but an extra $2,650. Wowee. On most Lexus vehicles, they charge an extra fee for fancy LED headlights, $1,150 to $1,550, but we're getting them for free here. Let's take them out and see if they are any good. It's dark enough. Let's take these headlights out and see what they do. Look pretty bright to me. Here we have the low beams on a fence 100 feet away. Decent brightness, good height, good high beam, good height, good widespread. I notice it's lower to the left than to the right, which makes sense. You don't want to blind oncoming traffic and you want to be able to see signs. Here we have the brights on the building 300 feet away. Excellent height, good widespread, very, very bright. Certainly no complaints here. Go to low beam. Bright, but only goes out to about 270 feet, more than adequate for city driving. When you turn the steering wheel, you also get side lights. Works great in parking lots. Again, same when taking corners. If you do a lot of driving down dark alleys, this might work. These lights do a pretty good job of illuminating road signs. Here we have some about a half mile away with the brights on. Even on low beam, still pretty bright. These headlights do a pretty good job if you're taking tight curved roads in the mountains. A lot of mountain lions out here. You don't want to hit one, they get kind of mad. Of course, when they hear this loud exhaust, they'll run away long before the car comes along. If you really want to hear some noise, put this in the Sport Plus 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 mode. They'll definitely hear you coming then. Ooh, downshift. All by itself. When you put it in the Super Sport mode, the dial lights up pretty good, doesn't it? Not too much room in this trunk. Certainly no room for a spare tire. I don't even see a tire repair kit. With good access to the battery. Let's take a look at the cabin. Before we get in, I want to tell you I've had other Lexus LC500s, and they all had the light tan interior, which was gorgeous, especially with the leather package. In black, this just doesn't cut it very well. Looks cheap, even though it's not. But some people like black over tan, so take your pick. But go sit in a tan one before you pick out a black one. You'll see the difference. Here's a video of another Lexus LC500 I tested last year, but it had the tan leather interior. Very, very nice looking. It had the suede on the doors. And tan seats were a lot cooler in the heat, summertime. By the way, this is sold as a 4-passenger because we do get a second row seating back here. But getting in and out, that's an experience. First, you have to wait for the seat to slowly go forward. Then there's the issue of leg room. If the seat goes all the way back, there is zero leg room. I move the seat forward just a little bit. And don't be in a hurry getting out. Here's the bottom line. If you have some good friends, don't put them back there. But if you have someone you don't like or relatives you want to get rid of, take them on a nice 14-hour drive, stick them back there. They'll leave town in a heartbeat. You'll never see them again. Let's start with some of the good features. This knob right here gives you Eco, Comfort, Normal, Custom, Sport, and Sport Plus modes. And when you push that, you'll get different views on your gauge. You can also move it to the center or to the right. Climate control, easy to use. All buttons. Traction control, snow mode. Here's some more radio controls. Seek, tune, are easy to use. Then you have your menu button and your map. And a genuine real clock that will be working when the warranty expires, unlike other brands I can think of that will die as soon as the warranty goes away. As much as I like this car, there's certainly some flaws on this cabin, and I'm going to show them to you, starting with the sun visors. Notice they do fold to the side to assist in blocking out the sun from the side windows, but they don't slide back and forth, so you have this big gap here. Not what you want on a hot sunny day, especially when it's not even lunchtime yet. We've already reached 106 degrees, and I'm in the shade. Seriously, Lexus, I mean, come on, your test facility is in Arizona, for crying out loud. Don't you test these things out there in the heat? And if they do, they don't notice, I guess. Then we have the glove box, which has absolutely no room for anything. If you have the owner's manual in, anyway. If you take the owner's manual out, well, then you're good to go. Put the owner's manual in that dinky little trunk somewhere. That's about, what, 4 inches? That's better. Now we have some room in here. Now let's go to the infotainment screen. Plenty of options here. Just press. However, on many Lexus cars, the infotainment system is controlled by a stick. On the LC500, they replaced that with this finger touch system. If you watch other YouTube testers driving this car, they tell you what a great system this is, and you also might notice they're sitting still in the car when they demonstrate that. Operating this at 75 miles per hour is a whole different ballgame, and it is just not pleasant to use. End of story. It takes a lot of practice. But if you're going to lease the car for 36 months, you'll have lots of time to learn it, I suppose. There's another feature of the LC500 I have a big problem with. It's the shift mechanism, which is a bit different from most other vehicles. Instead of a drive, neutral, reverse, and park all in a row, you have drive, neutral, and reverse with a separate park button. I'm seeing a lot of these systems, especially in Korean cars, the past couple years, and it makes no sense. Look, if you want to go to a push-button system, fine, go to a total push-button system. If you want to go to a shifter, put D and R and park all in a row like other cars. Separating these two makes no sense and has potential problems. People get in these cars for the first time. They push the shifter forward thinking they're in park. They're really in reverse, and while they're fiddling with their keys or getting their wallet out, the car slowly rolls backwards, smacks into the car and back, and you got a problem there. Especially if you give the keys to the valet and he doesn't know anything about this, and he backs into the Rolls Royce out in the country club parking lot. I've seen that happen. In fact, I was in the car once when it happened with an inexperienced driver. So, if you have a big family and you're loaning out your car to your kids, your wife, your husband, or the valet at the country club, you better make sure they know about this park button. In case you're wondering what this button does, that raises the rear spoiler. I'm told it races automatically at high speeds, but if you want it up all the time to impress your buddies on the street, here you go. By the way, I love the sound of this V8. Okay, first half of the video, show and tell. Second half, we're going to do some driving, rack up lots of miles. By the way, when you open the door, you'll notice the rocker panels underneath are extremely wide. And this is on the outside, so a lot of dirt builds up and gets on your pants. But it's a sports car, so I won't complain too much. You just have to live with it. For those of you paying attention to the video, you might be saying, hey, where's the door handle? How do you get in here? Well, it's pretty simple. When it knows you're coming, pops right out. Now, what happens if this breaks down? How do you get in your car? Well, come on, it's a Lexus. Never going to break down. One of the first things you'll notice when you get in a Lexus LC500 on a hot sunny day and start driving, yes, the gauge cluster is a beautiful design, but like most Lexus and Toyota products, you have this plastic cover, which means at certain angles of the day, at certain angles of the sun, here's what you will see, or perhaps not see. Can you read that? I can't. You would think that between early prototypes and production, someone at Lexus or Toyota would notice the problem with these plastic covers, but if they notice, they're not doing anything about it. And what I don't understand, all these YouTube testers and other vehicle evaluators that drive this car, they don't say anything about this either. Go figure. Again, I want to emphasize this only happens at certain angles of the sun at certain times of the day. And it's not a deal killer. It would not stop me from wanting to buy this car. It's just one of the little annoying things you'll have to put up with if you buy it. I can live with it. You probably will too. As we do in all my videos, we're going to take some mild speed bumps around 20 to 25 miles per hour. See how the suspension performs on impact. We're using the normal mode, not the Sport or Sport Plus. That's assuming I don't get walloped by this student driver car. They come out here every Saturday, running over pigeons and people. Okay, let's do it. Bump number 1. Heard it with those big 21-inch wheels, but didn't feel it. Number 2. Number 3. And the big nasty one, hang on. Again, heard it, but didn't really feel it. This is a very comfortable car to drive. With these big 21-inch wheels, if you want the maximum comfort, you might want to stick to the stock 20 inches. The 21 inches are mainly for looks. Lexus claims a 0 to 60 mile per hour time in 4.4 seconds. So if we put it in Sport Plus, turn off the traction control, and ignore the fact it's 111 degrees outside. Well, let's hit it and see what happens. Took about a second for the engine to come alive, but once it does, wow. I didn't time that 0 to 60 round, by the way, but if you have a stopwatch at home, give it a go. We're going to take a nice long highway trip. In the meantime, I have a Tesla riding my tail. I've been trying to shake him for the past 6 miles, and no luck. His car is just faster. That's the way it is. I'm going to have to test one of those someday. We're going to rack up a lot of miles today, lots of miles, to see what the fuel economy is on this vehicle, as well as the performance characteristics. So sit back and enjoy the ride, especially since you're not paying for the gas. But first we have to stop and say hello to my buddy. If you watch my videos, you know what's coming up. Where is he? Tommy the Toad. He brings you good luck. If you don't stop by and say hello, you get bad luck, and we don't want that. And let's see, we're having pretty good luck in our fuel economy, 24.9. 1/10 less than what the EPA claims. But I was driving for fuel economy. From here on out, I'll be driving for performance. So I think this number is going to drop just a wee bit. Let's open this baby up. This is a very hazardous road. Tight, twisty corners, drop-offs with no guardrails. You need a good machine if you're going to drive on this pavement. But I don't think we're going to have a problem with this Lexus. quality of this car is excellent, and the pundits who are saying this isn't a real sports car, but just a cushy GT, really don't know what they're talking about. Now, if we want to call it a cushy sports car, I could go with that. We're going to take a break, let the car cool off. It's kind of hot outside, but I will tell you, this is a very, very comfortable vehicle to drive. No fatigue at all. And I'm going to try to shoot for 500 miles today. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Again, this is a very fine looking car too, especially with the red paint. But we need to get back on the road instead of doing a view because the rattlesnakes are coming out and they don't want me here. So, back to the road. Well, let's see, 100 degrees outside. And our fuel economy dropped to 21.1, which is still pretty good. We weren't exactly driving for fuel economy. Time to rack up some more miles. As far as the number of gears in a transmission, 7 is all you need. 4 for the city, 1 for backcountry roads, and 2 on the highway, total of 7. 8 is overkill. 10 is definitely overkill. Especially if you're using the paddle shifters, all that shifting down, shifting up. On the positive side, the 10 speeds I've driven, whether from Lexus, Ford, GM, great performers, some of the best automatics I've ever used, so it's a trade-off. I'm not complaining, the performance of this gearbox is just fine. Always selects the right gear. And that applies to all the other 10-speed automatics I've driven too. Especially in the Fords. My, it's hot outside. Nice view. Just a wee bit on the warm side out there. Good thing this car has air-conditioned seats. I like that compass too. Keeps you from getting lost. So far we've racked up 400 miles. That included some spirited driving around those tight mountain roads. Let's see what the fuel economy was. 22.0. Not bad. And 95% of my driving was in the normal mode, not sport. For the next 200 miles, it's freeway driving only to make a return trip. We're trying to keep the speed around 75 miles per hour. Then we'll wrap up this video. Love the sound of that V8. We've reached the end of our trip. We're going to pull over and read the mileage and fuel economy figures. Our goal was to put at least 500 miles on the clock today. 600 if possible. Looks like we met our goal. And the fuel economy for the entire trip, 23.3 mpg. Nothing to complain about. And after racking up those miles, I learned 2 things. Number 1, for short trips like 100, 200 miles, these 21-inch wheels are fine. They look good too. For longer trips, they're just too noisy for me. I suggest sticking with the 20-inch wheels and tires if you want the smoothest ride possible. And don't forget, sticking with the standard 20-inch wheels will save you $2,500 as well. And number 2, these seats are more than adequate for trips of 200 to 300 miles. By the time I was getting to 500 to 600 miles, I found them to be a bit soft. This is one area where the Germans, particularly BMW and Mercedes, are a bit ahead of Lexus. But like I said, medium trips, 200 to 300 miles, you'll be okay. As far as the LC500 itself, this is top of the line Lexus engineering at its best. If you can afford it, you will not be disappointed. A very sleek, modern ride. Here are some links to other V8 performance cars we've driven lately. Just click and watch.